They looked at your face, saw the softness in your eyes, the glow in your skin, the way you carried yourself, light on your feet, gentle in your voice, and they came to one conclusion: easy target. That's the truth they don't want to admit. They thought youthfulness meant weakness, that if you looked untouched by time, you must be untouched by pain. But that's where they played themselves, because what you carry isn't naivety. It's restraint, it's poise, it's silence born from survival. You weren't spared by life, you were forged in it. There's something about you that unsettles people who live fake lives. The way you stay calm when others scream for attention. The way your presence makes a room quieter, not louder. They don't know what to do with someone like that. Someone who doesn't age like them, who doesn't break like them, who doesn't respond like they expect. They start to question everything. Why do you look so fresh, so untouched, so clean? But here's what rattles them the most. You've taken more hits than they could survive, and yet you still look like hope. That's power, and they hate it. If you're already feeling this in your chest, do one thing for this mission. Hit the like button and subscribe right now. That's how you repay the message. That's how you make sure this truth reaches the others like you. Let's shake the algorithm the same way your energy shakes the room. Now back to the truth they can't swallow. See, chosen ones don't just look younger because of good habits. It's not about green tea, cold showers, or sleeping 8 hours a night. Those help, sure, but what's really preserving you is your alignment with something deeper. The universe has shielded you, not because you're soft, but because your mission required you to walk through hell while looking like heaven. And that confused a lot of people. They thought the glow meant you were lucky. They didn't see the nights you cried alone, the betrayals you swallowed without closure, the silent wars you fought behind closed doors while smiling in public. They thought that since you didn't wear your pain on your face, you never had any. But let me speak this truth loud. You look young because you never gave in to bitterness. You didn't let this world harden your soul. You didn't become like them. And that's why they resent you, because they had the same chances, the same choices, but they chose rage, envy, greed. They aged fast, their energy decayed, and now, when they see you, still glowing, still rising, it feels like an insult to their own failure. They see your soft skin and think you're soft. But softness isn't weakness, it's discipline. It's the strength to stay pure in a filthy world, to stay kind after betrayal, to stay hopeful after being broken. The real ones know how much force it takes to stay that way. So when the world underestimated you, it wasn't a compliment. It was their own blindness. Let's get even more real. In school, they thought you were the quiet one. At work, they assumed you didn't know what was going on. In relationships, they tried to mold you, control you, play games with you, thinking you'd bend. And when you didn't, when you finally stood up, when your silence turned to fire, when you walked away without a word, that's when it hit them. That glow was never just youth, it was warning. A warning they ignored until it was too late. Now they watch from afar, wondering how you stayed so untouched, why people still gravitate toward you, why no matter what they threw at you, it didn't age you, it evolved you. While their bitterness turned into wrinkles, your boundaries turned into blessings. Look, this is bigger than just how you look. It's about how you move, how you carry pain without broadcasting it, how you never let the world turn you into a copy of itself. That's rare. That's why they can't stop watching you. Because in their world, time destroys everyone. But you're walking proof that healing is the real flex, that evolution doesn't need to be loud to be lethal. Let me tell you something from history. There are warriors who came back from battle looking untouched, not because they didn't fight, but because they fought with purpose, because they carried themselves like the outcome was already decided. That's you. You don't look young because you've never been through anything. You look young because you kept your peace while going through everything. You found power in silence. You stopped arguing with fools. You stopped proving your worth. And that shift, that's what turned your energy into armor. So if you're still wondering why people keep underestimating you, why they treat you like a rookie even though you've lived 10 lives in one, know this. They mistake your glow for ignorance because they can't recognize a light they don't have. Let them, because now their games don't work on you anymore. Their manipulation fails. Their guilt trips fall flat. You've outgrown their tactics. You've evolved past their reach. You don't react the way you used to. You don't explain yourself anymore. You walk different now. You see through everything, and they feel it. In every silence, in every boundary, in every version of you they can't access anymore. So let them talk, let them guess, let them ask each other, why do they still look so good? Because you know the answer, and you don't owe them the secret. And now, chosen one, the real story begins. If you've ever watched people squint at your face, confused by your energy, your vibe, your glow, and then tried to test you like you're new to this world, you already know the type of battle we're stepping into. What's coming next will peel back the mask on why they underestimated you and how that one mistake cost them more than they imagined. We're about to walk through this one layer at a time, step by step. No fluff, no fake empowerment, just real truths, delivered raw. You'll recognize your own scars in every word and feel your strength building back in silence. So if you're truly one of the rare few carrying that ancient fire in a youthful shell, drop a 777 in the comments to let the world know you're done being misread. You're not here to prove your worth, you're here to remember it. And believe me, if you're really chosen, you won't want to leave before the end. Let's get into it. Let's break this wide open. Number 1. They can't stand how you stay young while they rot from the inside out. They laughed at your calm until they saw it was the reason you never aged while they decayed under their own drama. They thought your glow was surface level, just good genes, just luck, just skincare. That's what they told themselves to sleep at night, because the truth, it stings too deep. The truth is, you carry an energy they've never touched. A silence that doesn't break under pressure. A peace that doesn't get shaken by gossip, games, or emotional chaos. That's what keeps you young. That's what keeps you glowing when life tries to pull the shine off everyone else. You see, most people age not because of time, but because of tension. They wear their bitterness on their faces, drag their past behind them like chains, and eat stress for breakfast. And every lie they told, every mask they wore, every fake smile, they all left fingerprints, wrinkles of regret, lines of deception, bags under the eyes filled with secrets they never dealt with. That's the curse of a life not lived right, and they feel it every time they look at you, untouched. They see you walking light, talking soft, living free, and they hate it, because deep down they know you didn't escape life's pain. You just didn't let it poison you, and that's the part that eats at them, because they broke under pressure and you didn't. They exploded, screamed, lashed out, tore others down to deal with their damage, and still they look older than their years, tired in their spirit, cracked in their soul. Meanwhile, you went through hell and somehow came out cleaner. That's not luck, that's power. That's what they'll never admit, that you did what they couldn't, hold on to peace without selling your soul. They tried to mess with you because your face didn't match your experience. You didn't walk around jaded, bitter, suspicious, defensive. You moved with softness, with grace, and they took that softness as weakness, thought you were green, unaware, easy to manipulate. But behind that calm was a storm they couldn't survive. Behind that smile was silence so sharp it could slice through lies. Behind those eyes was a library of pain you read through and mastered long ago. You're not new to this. You're not naive. You're just healed. And that's what they fear the most. Someone who isn't performing their pain. Someone who doesn't need to prove anything to feel complete. Someone who has learned how to carry hurt without turning it into hate. Because they never learned that. They got addicted to the noise, needed the chaos to feel alive, and now it's eating them alive, while you keep aging in reverse. You ever wonder why they stare too long, why they look at you like you're a glitch in the system? It's because you are. You're not playing by their rules. You're not collapsing like they did. You're not emotionally rotting under the same pressure that made them fake. They see your skin, your calmness, your aura, and it's like standing next to everything they could have been if they had just healed instead of hid. That's the dagger they don't talk about, because your glow is a mirror. And when they look at you, all they see is the reflection of what they lost. Not their youth, but their peace. You still look young because you never let the world harden you. You didn't give your energy to every argument, every fake friend, every drama trap they set up for you. You kept your mouth shut when others barked. You walked away when others begged for war. And that decision, that cost them more than they expected. Because while they wasted years fighting shadows, you stayed still and healed. While they played mind games, you learned how to forgive without forgetting. While they flexed their brokenness like a badge, you worked in silence and became whole again. Now their faces show what their souls have been hiding. And yours is untouched because you let go when it was time. You released what was rotting. You cut off the stress. You didn't let betrayal define your identity. And that choice, that is what the world sees in your face. A face that says, I've been through it all, but I didn't lose myself in it. They tried to measure you by appearances, saw the soft skin, the fresh eyes, the quiet voice, and made the worst mistake anyone can make. They thought you didn't know pain. They thought you were untested. They thought your peace was the default, not the reward. But here's what they couldn't grasp. Your peace came from the war. A war they couldn't have survived. A war you fought alone. The kind of war that forces you to learn how to sit with your wounds without screaming. The kind that makes you grow so silent that even pain stops trying to talk to you. That kind of peace can't be bought. It can't be faked. It's not something you can copy off someone else's vibe. It's real, and it radiates. That glow they envy, it's not youth. It's spiritual discipline. It's knowing when to stay quiet, when to walk away, and when to let go. It's not the absence of stress. It's the rejection of emotional parasites. The refusal to let anyone live rent-free in your mind. The courage to let healing take its time while the world rushed you to react. That's why you look the way you do, because you aged with grace while they aged with rage. And now they're tired, worn out from all the faking, sick from their own secrets, cracking under the pressure of keeping up appearances. And every time they look at you, it hurts a little more. Because you're the proof they lost the plot. Let them sit with that. Let them wonder. Let them watch you glow and never understand why. Because what they tried to break only got brighter. Number 2. They gave their souls for status. You walked away and stayed young. They spend their lives performing, putting on masks, clinging to trends like lifeboats, posting for clout, speaking for likes, competing for attention they don't even respect. And all of that noise, it drains them. It wears on their skin, their posture, their eyes. It makes them older than their years. Meanwhile, you made a different choice. You stepped off the stage. You stopped playing the part, and the world couldn't handle it. You don't move like them because you're not weighed down by the invisible rules that govern their every move. You don't wake up worried about who's watching, who's judging, who's winning. You don't wear a costume just to be accepted by people who would throw you under the bus the moment it was convenient. That freedom you carry, it's rare, and it's powerful. It's what keeps your energy light, your soul untouched, and your appearance years younger than those who sold themselves for relevance. They chase status like addicts chasing a high, designer clothes, fake lifestyles, arguments that don't end, gossip that poisons every room. It's all theater, all of it. And you walked away from that circus. You stopped letting your value be dictated by strangers. You realized the price of keeping up was your peace, and you weren't willing to pay it. Imagine a person dragging 10 bags behind them, each one filled with insecurities, comparisons, and fake friendships. Every step they take, they get more tired, more bitter, more exhausted. Now imagine someone else walking beside them. No bags, no weight, just stillness. That's you. That's the difference. One is collapsing under pressure that doesn't even belong to them. The other, floating in their own lane. People wear their pain like fashion now, loud, performative, and constantly needing attention. You chose silence. You chose truth. You don't argue with fools on the internet. You don't post your life for approval. You don't chase clicks or align with empty movements just to feel included. That's what separates you, not just from the average person, but from the predictable person. And when they can't predict you, they fear you. The question they whisper behind your back is always the same. Why do they look so good? What's their secret? They don't realize that your beauty is in your boundaries, that your youth is in your refusal to entertain chaos, that your glow isn't skincare, it's a lack of stress from not caring about their fake games. You look younger because your energy isn't stretched thin trying to be liked. You've reclaimed your attention, your time, your power, and in a world that thrives on distraction, that's revolutionary. Your silence is anti-aging. Your peace is anti-wrinkle. Your detachment is the real fountain of youth. They sold themselves to fit in, and now they look like they've lived 5 lifetimes of regret. But you don't age like them because you didn't live like them. You ever walk into a room and feel like you don't belong, not because you're not good enough, but because you're not fake enough? That's the curse of being real in a world addicted to performance. You've been in rooms where every conversation was a competition, every laugh was forced, and every compliment had a knife behind it. And you sat there thinking, this can't be it. This can't be how people live. You were right. You didn't get sucked in. You didn't become them. You held your ground, even when it meant losing people, missing opportunities, being misunderstood. And now it shows on your face, in your calm, in your glow. That's the reward. Every time they tried to drag you into their drama, you took a step back and added another year to your youth. Imagine a river flowing wild, dirty, loud, crashing into rocks. That's them. Now imagine a still lake, deep, clear, unmoved. That's you. They're aging in the chaos. You're resting in the stillness. And yet, they think they're winning. They think the followers, the likes, the noise equals power. But power isn't how many people watch you. It's how well you sleep when no one's looking. And you've slept with a clean conscience while they stay up calculating their next move. That's why they're aging faster. They traded peace for performance, and now they're paying in years. Society promised them everything if they just played the game. You refused the offer, and now you still have what they lost, yourself. Don't let their confusion become your guilt. You don't owe anyone an explanation for why you don't join the fake outrage. You don't owe anyone your presence in their drama, and you definitely don't owe anyone your energy just because they're screaming louder. Let them rot in the noise. Let them wonder how you're still glowing when they're falling apart from within. They'll say you got lucky, that you have it easy, that you didn't struggle like them, because admitting the truth would burn too deep. You just didn't live for them. You lived for peace. And every wrinkle they earned from chasing illusions, you avoided by choosing stillness. They'll never understand how someone who walks so quietly can carry so much power. They'll never accept that your youth isn't in your age, it's in your alignment. And they'll never admit that the freedom you walk with is the very thing they lost trying to fit in. Let them choke on their envy. You've got bigger things to do. Let them talk. You've got silence to protect. Let them age trying to please the world. You've got a glow to preserve. And when they ask again, what's the secret? Let them keep guessing, because you don't owe them the blueprint. They wouldn't survive it anyway. Number 3, you bounce back while they break apart. They thought the damage would leave you in ruins, but you used it as fuel, and now you shine harder than ever. They expected to see you fall apart. They waited for the breakdown. They whispered, "This one's done." But they didn't realize who they were dealing with. You're not built like them. Where they collapse, you recalibrate. Where they freeze, you rebuild. That's the difference. That's the secret behind why you still look untouched after the kind of pain that should have buried you. You don't just heal, you evolve. While they sit in bitterness for years, aging with every replay of betrayal, you take the hit, feel it fully, and move through it. You don't suppress the pain, you face it. And because of that, it doesn't rot inside you. It doesn't build up in your bones. You don't carry it in your posture or let it carve itself into your face. That's why they don't recognize you after you've been hurt. You don't look broken, you look reborn. Imagine a tree struck by lightning. Most trees die, but the chosen ones, they grow a new branch where the burn mark was. You're that tree. The more life tries to scorch you, the more you expand. And that confuses people who only know how to shrink. Your scars don't age you. They glow like silent proof that you survived what would have destroyed others. They see your glow and assume you've had it easy. They don't realize it's the opposite. Your peace is earned. Your radiance is residue from healing work most people avoid. You're not glowing because life spared you. You're glowing because you stayed in the fire until it couldn't burn you anymore. And it's not just emotional, it's physical. When your nervous system isn't hijacked by endless trauma loops, your body stays lighter. Your energy moves freer. You don't weigh yourself down with resentment, so your body doesn't carry it either. That's why you walk different, talk different, look different. They hold on to every insult, every betrayal, every ego wound, like emotional debt they're too afraid to pay off. You pay it, learn from it, and move. That's why you're aging in reverse, while they're dragging their past into every room they enter. Let them wonder, let them talk. They'll never understand that healing, real, deep healing, is the most underrated anti-aging force on earth. Number 4, you glow because they couldn't dim you. They mocked your light until they realized it wasn't for show. It was forged in fire. They tried to dim you, first with insults, then with silence, then with manipulation masked as love. But no matter what they did, you kept glowing. Not because life treated you kindly, but because you refused to let their darkness become your own. And that glow? It's not makeup, it's not lighting, it's not luck. It's the aftermath of survival. Your glow makes people uncomfortable. Let it. Because what they don't understand, they try to discredit. They see your calm, your smile, your presence, and they assume it's all effortless. They think you're just naturally happy, naturally radiant, like the universe just handed you peace. But they don't know what it cost you to shine this way. Your glow came from grief, from self-destruction you had to pull yourself out of, from walking through betrayal without becoming bitter, from learning to forgive people who weren't even sorry. You didn't find this light, you earned it. Imagine a lantern lit with your own tears. That's the kind of glow they see, and envy. They keep chasing filters, chasing injections, chasing distractions, doing everything they can to look alive while feeling dead inside. And yet you, without effort, without noise, walk in the room and make everyone feel like they've been living in grayscale. That's why they side-eye you. That's why they try to copy you, because your energy exposes their emptiness. They confuse softness with weakness. They think because you're not aggressive, you're unaware. But your silence has never meant blindness. Your peace has never meant inexperience. In fact, your glow is a warning sign. They should have never messed with someone who looks like light but thinks like war. Your presence doesn't just uplift rooms, it disrupts illusions. It makes fake smiles feel plastic. It makes gossip fall flat. It makes those who live out of alignment want to crawl out of their skin. That's not charisma. That's soul-level authenticity. Your glow is proof that someone can go through hell and come back with heaven in their eyes. So let them keep wondering. Let them try to replicate it with aesthetics, with imitation, with noise. They'll never get it. Because what you have can't be copied. It can't be bottled. It can't be bought. It's what happens when you become exactly who the world tried to stop you from being. Number 5. You turn pressure into power while they choke on their own chaos. They thought stress would crush you. Turns out you've been turning it into armor this whole time. Stress breaks most people, ages them, warps their face, slouches their back, stiffens their spirit. One setback and they spiral. One insult and they carry it for years. But you take stress like it's a test and pass it with silence. You've learned how to feel the weight without letting it stay. That's why you're not falling apart like they are. That's why you still look unbothered, untouched, unreadable. You don't wear your stress, you outgrow it. They've watched you get hit with chaos that would have buried them. They've seen the betrayals, the sudden losses, the unexpected shifts, and every time they thought, this one's finally about to break. And every time you didn't just survive, you glowed harder, you moved smarter, you rose higher, and now they don't know what to do with that. Imagine someone trying to drown you in their drama, and instead you learn how to breathe underwater. You don't run from pressure, you repurpose it. Where others panic, you observe. Where others explode, you process. You've trained yourself to stop reacting and start responding. And that shift, that's what saved your youth, your mind, and your peace. Because stress isn't just mental, it shows in your skin, your tone, your presence. And since you don't carry it the way they do, you don't age the way they do. Your secret? You don't attach yourself to things you can't control. You don't let other people's chaos become your internal state. They tried to bait you with arguments, with manipulation, with drama, just to see you stumble. And instead, you stood still. That kind of composure scares people who live off reactions. They think you're emotionless. You're not. You just know better than to let temporary tension leave permanent damage. Your peace isn't passive. It's a form of quiet rebellion in a world addicted to noise. They'll keep calling you lucky, keep calling you cold, keep saying nothing ever seems to bother them. But that's because they don't understand how much strength it takes to choose peace over performance. You didn't avoid stress, you mastered it, and that's why it doesn't age you. It strengthens you, it sharpens you, and it sets you apart. So let them watch, let them wonder, let them break themselves trying to break you. You're too untouchable for the chaos they live in. Number 6. You don't let just anyone touch your frequency. They tried to feed off your light, only to find out you don't run on approval, you run on alignment. Your energy is not public property, it's not a buffet for the desperate, it's not a playground for the emotionally unstable, and once you realize that, everything changed. The glow got brighter, the peace got deeper, the silence hit harder, because you stopped allowing access to people who only came to take, never to build. They don't understand how you stay so calm, so composed, so radiant. It's simple. You're not available to everyone anymore. While they hand themselves out in pieces, chasing validation, tolerating disrespect, drowning in noise, you've become selective, intentional, locked in. That's not arrogance, that's wisdom earned from being drained one too many times. Imagine a fortress with no front door, only a narrow gate for those who know the code. That's your energy now. They used to get reactions out of you, arguments, explanations, apologies you didn't owe. But now, nothing, just silence, distance, boundaries like laser beams. And that's what makes them spiral, because they can't feed off what they can't reach. You've turned your presence into a privilege. Not everyone gets to experience it. Not everyone gets to sit in your peace. You're not lonely, you're leveled up. You don't go where the energy feels heavy. You don't stay where the vibe feels off. You don't fake love to avoid conflict. That level of discipline, it's rare, and it shows. Your boundaries don't push people away, they push parasites away. They call it being too guarded. But here's the truth. They only say that because they benefited from your lack of protection. Now that you've woken up, now that you say no without guilt, now that you don't show up just because they expect you to, suddenly you're cold. No, you're just clear. And that clarity, it's anti-aging, it's peace-giving, it's soul-saving. You don't waste your glow on people who don't even value their own. You don't get drained trying to explain yourself to the unteachable. You're no longer available for emotional vampires or attention-hungry clowns. You used to hand out pieces of yourself like candy. Now, you've locked the gates. Only real ones get in. That's why you look untouchable, because you finally are. Number 7. You walk away while they cling and crack. They call it cold when you let go, but deep down, they know it's the kind of strength they'll never touch. You age slower because you don't hold on to what's already expired. That's the truth nobody wants to say out loud. You're not dragging around old pain, fake connections, or dead-end dreams that should have been buried years ago. You've learned to release, to detach. And while everyone else is emotionally constipated, holding on to what's draining them, you walk light. That's why you still look alive. That's why your face isn't carved with regret. That's why your energy feels like freedom. Most people rot inside before they ever grow old. They cling to people who disrespect them, situations that keep breaking them, identities that no longer fit. And all that weight, it shows in their eyes, in their body language, in their skin. You let go. You don't beg for closure. You don't chase what tries to leave. You don't replay the same wound until it becomes your personality. Imagine carrying an anchor and calling it love. That's what most people do. You dropped it and swam to the surface. Your detachment isn't cold-hearted. It's calculated. It's spiritual. You've learned that peace costs more than comfort, and you're willing to pay that price every time. They see you walk away from chaos without flinching and assume you never cared. But that's the mistake. You did care. You just cared about yourself more. That's what burns them. That's what makes them spiral. Because while they're stuck repeating the same loops, you broke the cycle and chose evolution. People try to shame you for detachment like it's avoidance, but it's the opposite. It's clarity. It's knowing what belongs to you and what's just noise in disguise. You know when to hold on and when to drop the rope. That's not emotional distance. That's energetic intelligence. Detachment doesn't mean you don't feel. It means you feel, you process, and you move without becoming a prisoner to it. And guess what? That's the real anti-aging secret. Not the creams, not the routines, not the trends. It's the ability to stop bleeding for what no longer serves you. You're not holding grudges. You're not replaying betrayals. You're not dragging people along just to avoid being alone. You've mastered the art of release. And in a world full of hoarders, emotional, spiritual, and mental, that makes you powerful beyond belief. That's why you still look fresh. That's why they still look stuck. Number 8. You move by truth while they chase what's trending. They keep chasing what's new, while you stay rooted in what never changes, and that's why they keep aging while you keep rising. The world runs on distraction now. Hype, algorithms, micro-trends that vanish in a week. Everyone's sprinting, chasing, panicking to stay relevant. But not you. You walk slow. You listen deep. You live in rhythm with something older, something wiser. And that's why you seem untouched by time. You're not fighting the current. You've learned how to flow with it. They measure their worth by numbers, likes, and who's ahead. But your compass isn't external. It's ancient. You don't look younger because you're trying to stay young. You look younger because you aren't at war with the moment. While they obsess over what's next or mourn what's gone, you're fully present, fully awake. That awareness gives you something they'll never get from plastic or filters. Peace that radiates from within. Imagine a mountain watching the wind rush by. It doesn't move because it doesn't need to. That's you. They don't get how you stay so calm, so composed, so centered because they're used to people being frantic, obsessed with becoming something, desperate to escape themselves. But you've realized the truth. You don't become powerful by chasing trends. You become powerful by becoming true. You live by laws that don't expire, real ones, inner ones. You've seen through the fake goals, the hollow victories, the empty praise, and now you move different, timeless, unshaken, eternal. They chase relevance. You embody resonance. That's why they fade and you last. They want to know your routine, your secret, your formula, but they wouldn't even understand it if you explained it. Because what guides you isn't written in a self-help book or trending on social media. It's felt, it's aligned, it's ancient wisdom in a modern body, and that makes you unpredictable, powerful, ageless. You're not here to impress, you're here to embody, and while they run faster trying to keep up, you're sitting still and still winning. You're in tune with truths that don't bend for culture, don't change with clout, and don't crumble under pressure. That's why your energy stays sharp. That's why your peace stays protected. That's why your glow stays timeless. Let them chase what fades. You'll keep walking with what stays. Number 9. They took your softness for stupidity. Now they're sick with regret. They saw the smile, not the strategy. By the time they realized you were 10 steps ahead, it was already over. You walked in with warmth, and they thought you were weak. You treated them with grace, and they assumed you were gullible. That's how predictable they are. They looked at your kindness and saw a target. Someone easy to fool, easy to use, easy to manipulate. But what they didn't realize was this. Your kindness wasn't a weakness, it was a test, and they failed it. You've seen too much to be simple, been through too much to be blind. You just don't lead with your pain. You don't announce your intelligence. You don't need to flex your wisdom. That quietness they mocked, that softness they tried to exploit, that's what saved you from becoming like them, and that's what aged them while you stayed preserved in peace. Imagine handing someone a glass of water and watching them try to drown you with it. That's what they did with your kindness. But you didn't retaliate with rage. You didn't stoop. You observed. You watched their patterns. You let them dig their hole deeper while you stood still. And when it was time, you vanished. No drama, no warnings, just distance. That's what destroyed them, not your anger, but your exit. Because now they realize what they lost. You weren't just kind, you were loyal, you were healing, you were rare, and they'll never feel that again, not from someone like you. They thought your glow was innocence, but it was survival wrapped in elegance. You've learned that cruelty doesn't make you powerful, it makes you brittle. That bitterness doesn't protect you, it poisons you. So you stayed soft, but not blind. You forgave, but you never forgot. You moved on, but you never reopened the door. And that decision, that's why your face doesn't carry the weight of grudges. That's why your energy still feels light. Let them live with the version of you they created, the one that no longer returns calls, explains actions, or entertains nonsense. They mistook grace for weakness, but now they understand. You were never soft, you were just controlled. And that control, that's what kept you glowing while they aged with guilt. Number 10. You stopped performing, and that's why you still shine. They gave their soul for a like. You gave it back to yourself, and now they can't stand how you glow without an audience. They're addicted to approval, obsessed with being seen, caught in a loop of proving, posting, pretending. Every step they take is broadcasted for validation, every thought filtered for applause. But you broke that chain. You stopped performing, and the moment you stopped begging to be noticed is the moment you became unforgettable. You don't need a crowd to feel worthy. You don't need claps to feel confident. You don't need filtered praise from fake mouths to confirm what you already know. You're complete. And that kind of self-sourced power? It terrifies them because they've never tasted it. They've only known worth through mirrors, reflections, not roots. Imagine building your house with your own hands while they live in glass ones built by opinions. That's the difference. Your glow doesn't flicker because it isn't powered by attention. It's steady, deep, grounded. While they chase likes and empty compliments to patch the holes in their self-esteem, you stay centered. That's why they call you arrogant. Not because you're loud, but because your silence doesn't come with a need to be liked. You rejected the game they're still enslaved to. The game of appearances, of approval, of pretending to be more or less just to fit the moment. You stopped comparing your timeline to anyone else's. You stopped trying to impress people who don't even respect themselves. And just like that, your youth came back. Your glow got stronger. Your spirit got lighter. They age fast because the mask is heavy. You age slow because you threw it away. They want to know your secret. They want to know how you keep your cool, how you stay so sure of yourself, how you seem untouchable while they're falling apart trying to be relevant. The truth? You stopped chasing what doesn't feed you. You started showing up for you. Not them, not the crowd, not the noise, just you. And when you finally found peace in that solitude, the universe gave you something they'll never get chasing clout. a glow that doesn't fade. Let them keep burning out, trying to be seen. You already know who you are, and that's why you still shine, even when no one's watching. Number 11, you outgrew who they thought you were, and now they can't find you. They tried to label you yesterday, but you're already 3 versions ahead, and glowing harder every time. They thought they had you figured out, boxed up, labeled, categorized by your past, your mistakes, your silence. They thought they could sum you up by who you used to be. But every time they try to revisit the old version of you, they find empty space. Because you've evolved again, and again, and again. You're not just changing, you're ascending. That's why they can't keep up. While most people stay frozen in time, defined by their traumas, their comfort zones, their fake identities, you treat every challenge like a metamorphosis. You welcome change like an old friend. You don't fear it, you feed on it. And that mindset, that's what keeps you looking ageless, untouched, untouchable. Because change doesn't age you, it renews you. Imagine a snake shedding its skin, while the others cling to their old scales, pretending they still fit. You don't resist growth just because it's uncomfortable. You walk straight into it. You let old mindsets burn. You let dead relationships dissolve. You release identities that no longer serve who you're becoming. That kind of emotional intelligence, it's rare, and it's powerful. It's what keeps your spirit sharp, your face light, your energy electric. They're stuck trying to find themselves. You're already on your next self, and that's why they stay confused, because every time they come around expecting the old you, the one they could guilt, manipulate, predict, you're no longer there. You've leveled up, and they're still speaking the language of your past. You don't just grow, you outgrow. And that's why your glow evolves faster than their gossip. You don't get attached to what you've outgrown. Not places, not people, not habits. You keep it moving. You're loyal to your growth, not your history. And while they stay stagnant out of fear of change, you transform pressure into presence. You're a moving target, and that's why they can't aim at you anymore. Every time you evolve, you break another illusion they held about you. That's why they're uncomfortable in your presence now. It's not arrogance. It's the realization that you're no longer accessible to their old ways. Let them try to chase the version of you that doesn't exist anymore. You're too far ahead, too fluid, too elevated. That's why you still shine, because while they rot in who they were, you keep becoming. Number 12, you run on eternal power, and that's why time can't touch you. They thought your glow came from lifestyle, but it came from life force, ancient, quiet, unstoppable. You don't age like them because you don't live like them. While they power themselves with caffeine, comparison, and chaos, you're plugged into something deeper, something timeless. You're not running on ego, attention, or trends. You're moving with alignment, with intention, with the energy of the infinite flowing through you. That's what keeps you untouched. That's what they'll never be able to replicate. You don't chase beauty, you carry it, not the surface kind, the kind that pulses from the inside out, the kind that doesn't dim when you're alone, the kind that doesn't fade when the crowd's gone. You glow because you're rooted. Your peace is not performative, it's powered by discipline, gratitude, presence. You show up for yourself in ways that nobody sees, and that's where the real radiance is born. Imagine tapping into a current older than time. While they charge their souls with temporary hype, you're running on the eternal. People try to explain you, try to bottle your vibe, steal your blueprint, mimic your presence, but it never works, because what you carry isn't manufactured, it's sacred. It's not personality, it's frequency. You don't have to force your light. You don't even have to explain it. You just are. And that fact alone unsettles those who've based their entire worth on being seen. They see you walking, glowing, elevating, and it frustrates them because you're not plugged into the same matrix they are. You don't run on likes. You don't operate on approval. You're not dependent on external conditions to feel whole. And that level of power, that unnerves them because it can't be controlled. You aren't defying age. You're dancing with eternity. This energy you walk with, it doesn't age, it doesn't decay, it renews daily, silently, through every boundary you enforce, through every emotion you process with awareness, through every time you choose peace over panic. That's divine rhythm. That's how you stay glowing while they keep burning out, trying to be noticed. So let them guess, let them watch. Let them keep wondering how you still shine through the storms, still glow through the silence, still rise without noise. You're not aging. You're channeling something they'll never understand. Number 13. You expose what they hid, and that's why they hate your glow. They don't hate you. They hate the version of themselves they see in your light. Your glow unsettles them, not because you're arrogant, but because you're evidence, proof of what they could have been if they hadn't quit, if they hadn't sold themselves out to bitterness, comfort, or fear. Every time you walk in a room with light in your eyes and peace in your walk, it reminds them of the parts of themselves they buried to survive. And now, instead of healing, they hate you for reminding them that they still could. You don't just shine, you reflect, you hold up a mirror, and what they see in it isn't your softness or your strength, it's their surrender. That's what burns. That's why they side-eye your calm, why they mock your joy, why they dismiss your kindness as naivety. It's not judgment, it's deflection. You didn't do anything to them, you just existed near them. And that was enough to shake their fake reality. Imagine being a candle in a dark room full of people who forgot they had matches. That's you. They gave up on peace and chose drama, gave up on love and chose control, gave up on themselves and chose bitterness. And now they see someone like you, still glowing, still laughing, still hopeful, and it makes them squirm. Because you're living proof that it's possible to go through hell and come out whole. They want to label you, mock you, tear you down, not because they see weakness, but because they see potential, and it reminds them of everything they didn't chase. Your glow isn't arrogance. It's the side effect of choosing to evolve when others gave up. You are a living contradiction to their excuses. While they said, life is too hard to stay soft, you stayed soft anyway. While they said, you'll understand one day, you did understand and still didn't lose your light. You didn't fold. And that choice, that's why they age with resentment while you move with grace. Let them project. Let them misjudge. That's their reflection, not your identity. You're not here to shrink so they can feel tall. You're not here to dim so they don't feel exposed. Your glow hurts them, but it's not your job to fix that. It's your proof that you didn't become them.